makes you think you should fight again. Right. Doesn't it? Moscow, let's go to Moscow. Literally, I told him he'd take the guy from Hagar in Moscow because he said he wouldn't want to get killed.
Right. It's more of a protective thing, yeah. This makes sense. Well, watch out. Yeah, she is. Got a haircut.
That must be security. Welcome. I'd like to thank everybody for attending the media conference this morning. We have an amazing fight card this Saturday, stacked from top to bottom, something we're very proud of. Before I go into the details of the fighters, I'd like to thank the sponsors, Monster Energy Drink, Burger King, Boost Mobile, AutoZone, Miller Lite, and 50 Cent Champagne. Thank you for putting up the prize money for the tournament. As you guys know, the welterweight tournament is continuing this Saturday with Lima and MVP, where the winner eventually will fight for $1 million prize money. So thank you. When I think about this event, it's become like a yearly event that we bring back every year. And every year I think that we just made it better and better and better. And when I look at the fight card here, I mean, the main event has so much heat on it. The welterweight tournament, $1 million prize moving forward on the line. We have an OG in the sense of Pat Curran fighting, AJ McKee, the up-and-coming star. And then we have TJ fighting against Jack Swagger. So it's going to be a great fight. We have a tremendous undercard full of local fighters, local talent. Again, we always come to town trying to find the next star. And when I think about the past history of us going into town and looking for the new talent, I mean, we've been very successful in finding the next group of fighters, the next young up-and-coming athletes. And we'll be looking, and our matchmaker will be here. Rich will be in town. He'll be looking for the next group. As we talked about the Grand Prix tournament, the 170-pound weight class in the welterweight division. It started off great. The winner of this tournament fight will continue on fight the Madison Square Garden June 14th fight between Roy McDonald fighting Neiman Gracie. So we're looking forward to that. And the debut, earlier this year we saw the debut of Jake Hagar, also known as Jack Swagger, who made his incredible transformation from pro wrestling into mixed martial arts. And that's not an easy task, so I gotta give my hats off to him because for the transformation from a professional wrestler and going into where somebody's really trying to punch you, somebody's trying to take you down, somebody's trying to submit you. It's a very complex fighting system, mixed martial arts. So I give my hats off to him for making the jump, and we look forward to the fight on Saturday against TJ. MVP versus Daly, like I said, the tournament continues, but MVP coming off the big win with Daly. And when I think about the kid and his talent, it's unbelievable the things that he can do in the cage. And I love the fact that he comes from a karate background, and he's been able to show his techniques into the cage. And same thing with Lima. Lima, had an amazing career, former champ, but held the title for a bit, fought Roy, and he wants to, earn his belt back, and he also wants to fight for the $1 million prize money. So that leads us to the main event, Michael Chandler versus Patricio Pitbull. Both these guys, extremely talented, probably the icons of Bellator. Way before I was here even, they were already reigning champs and doing their thing. And, you know, to have our 145-pound champ fight the 155-pound champ, that's a big deal in any organization. And especially being the icons of this company, very proud to host this fight. And this is a fight that had a lot of heat on it for the last couple of years, and they all had their own journey. But now we're here together to get this fight on Saturday, and it's live on Dazn. And I'd like to thank Dazn, who's been amazing partners. You know, when I think about Dazn, I first started thinking. I thought about, you know, what it'd be like to have a streaming service and watch it on my iPad, or watch it on my TV through Apple, or watch it on my phone. And it's been an amazing experience. It's been seamless. Last Saturday, I watched a Canelo fight. Just came home, didn't have to buy it on pay-per-view. Just put it on and it was there. So thankful to Dazn and all our partners there. And we'll put on an amazing fight for you guys. And if you guys don't have the app, download it. It's an amazing service. It's a great value. It's the best value in combat sports. So with that, I'll turn it over to the media for some questions.
If you have questions, please raise your hand and we'll bring you a microphone.
Scott, back here in the back. I asked both fighters about this yesterday, but I'm wondering what your opinion is. Is the main event the biggest fight you guys have ever put on? And I know we ask you that about every 3, 4, 5 months at this point, but do you feel like it might be the biggest you guys have ever done?
You know what I appreciate about this fight is that when you have two champions in, you know, weight classes, you know, that are, you know, close in proximity like this, and they've both been so dominant and been, you know, just killers in their weight division, and they're willing to get it on and put it all on the line. And there's some heat on this fight. These guys don't like each other. I'm sure you guys seen the digital pieces. It's been fun to watch. It's, you know, and it's been a little bit stressful because we want to make sure that nothing happened, you know, in between the time from the time that we started doing these promotions and getting all these guys in the same room to now. It's been a task. So I think that I'm ready for Saturday to happen, and you know, I think that this could be one of the greatest battles you guys will see in the history of Bellator.
And then just to follow up on that, do you feel like each of these guys with a win could sort of stake a claim as the best fighter in Bellator history?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about the longevity and you know, the history of both these athletes, it's quite remarkable. So I wish them both luck. They're both friends, and I wish them, you know, to have a great fight and let the better man win.
And for Scott, this is a fight. There's been a lot of history here. They've been sort of going back and forth for years. Is Chandler versus Pitbull a fight you've been looking at doing even, you know, right when you came on board Bellator a few years ago?
You know what? I mean, I've been here, I want to say 4.5 years. That was not a fight that we thought about putting on in the very beginning. They all had, like I said, their own journeys, their own fights, their own, you know, opponents that they wanted to fight or that were in their divisions. But that changed when, you know, Michael knocked out his brother, and there's a little bit of jawing. And I said, oh, this is interesting because these guys definitely don't like each other. There's some heat on this fight. But, you know, we continued down the journey of having them fight in their respective weight classes. And I think that the time is right. And that's why this fight is happening on Saturday.
Question for Michael and Pitbull. I'll start with Michael. Just to follow up on Matt's question, a win on Saturday, does that make you the Bellator GOAT?
You know, I'm not really thinking about that, honestly. All I can think about is being the GOAT that night. And that's all I can think about, to be honest with you. I want to go out there. I want to have a phenomenal performance. Chicago is an amazing city. I've already spent hours, almost a full day down here. It's a beautiful city, not far from my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. So the Midwest crowd's going to come in. They're going to come in rowdy. They're going to come in to see a fight. They're going to come in to see a Midwest boy reign supreme. And you know, I mean, you can get caught up in the long game, the long ball, the legacy type of stuff. Yes, I respect Pitbull for a lot of reasons, for what he's been able to accomplish from where he came from to where he is today. And I look forward to stopping him on Saturday night.
And then same thing for Pitbull. You hold a lot of Bellator records. With a win over Chandler on Saturday, would you be considered the GOAT?
This time I'm not think about that, so, you know. I only think about my opponent, and that's it. I don't care about the legacy belt, nothing. Just him.
Well, it's pretty tense in here at the moment, gentlemen. I mean, can we just kind of explain from Michael and from Patricio just why there's been so much bad blood between you leading into this? Maybe you first, Patricio. What is it about Michael that you don't like? Because in some ways you said it's not the belt, it's him. He's the belt for you in this fight.
After he knocked my brother out, he talked shit about my family. And now he's going to pay for that. That's it. That's simple.
And what do you mean by he's going to pay for it?
I'm going to kill him.
How do you respond to that, Michael, that there's a man that wants to kill you on Saturday night in Chicago?
Yeah. Who cares, man? This is hand-to-hand combat. This is 25 minutes in a cage. I've done it 25 times. I'm ready to go out there and do exactly what I did to his brother to him. I could care less who steps across the cage from me. This one's exciting though, because very few times in my career have I had somebody who allegedly has this kind of animosity. You know, I think this is the way he motivates himself. This is the way that he gets himself pumped up. I'm here to compete. I'm here to collect a paycheck, and I'm here to provide for my family. He's just another guy with 2 arms and 2 legs. He's very good everywhere. I'm just better.
So he says you're pretending to be like this, Patricio, that you don't mean these things.
Can you say it again?
He says that you don't really mean these things, that you don't really want to do this, that it's just you're just saying it.
I think that.
He says.
Okay, we will see.
Over on the end, of course, AJ McKee, you're fighting Pat Curran. You feel as well that you can devastate and lay waste to everyone here, including Pitbull, including Pat Curran.
Yes, I feel like I'm just the new wave, the new generation of the sport. You know, I'm looking forward to going out there and fighting Pat. You know, that's the man that's stepping in front of me. That's the champion that's stepping in front of me. You know, he's the one with the accolades. He's the true champ that stepped up in this place. You know, so I appreciate the fight. Thank Pat for taking the fight, and look forward to going in there and doing what I do best.
But you've been quite vocal about the fact that you already believe you could beat the featherweight and the lightweight champions.
Oh yeah. It's just a matter of time. I'm going to continue to do what I do best, and that's take one name out at a time. And right now, Pat Curran's on the list. Only reason why is because Patricio don't want to sign that contract. You got somebody 13-0 in my division knocking people out left and right. That's who I'm fighting. I've been calling his name since my first fight. So right now, Pat Curran's the man with the job.
Thank you. And a question for Michael Venom Page. Michael, it's a huge fight for you, but it's also a huge fight for British mixed martial arts on Saturday night. Could be a crossover moment. You're up against probably the most difficult opponent you've ever faced in Douglas Lima, if one is fair. What do you intend to do on Saturday night?
Just do me, you know, put on a show, be what I've been every time I step into the cage. I got a lot of respect for the man that's going to be standing across the cage. I got to take it seriously, as I do every fight, but that much more seriously in this fight. And I think I'm waving a flag for a lot of people back home, but it's more for me. I enjoy what I do, and I'm just going to go in the cage and continue to enjoy what I do.
Question for Pat right here. You've been out for a while. What have you made of AJ's rise? Like he said, 13-0, longest win streak, Bellator history, and all that.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with him. He's he's 13-0 for a reason. He's constantly changing and developing his game. He's always a different fighter every time he steps into the cage. And I know this is going to be a difficult fight, but I believe in my abilities. I'm confident in myself. I wouldn't have taken this fight if I didn't think I was going to win. So I took this fight because I know the fans are going to enjoy it, and I want to put a stop to his undefeated record right now.
How do you think he stacks up to your past opponents? I mean, you fought a man sitting at the end of the table. You've been around Bellator for a long time. How does he compare?
He's right up there with my past opponents, and my last fight was against Jonathan Texeria, and he ended up knocking him out, I believe in the first or second round. Great performance on his part. He landed the he landed the right shot right on the chin, and I got him 3 times during my fight, dropped him 3 times, and just wasn't in the right spot. So if I have to say I loosened his jaw up just for AJ to knock him out for that fight.
Thanks, Pat.
For Mr. Lima, you're old school Bellator. You've gone through the original tournaments. You've won the title, lost the title, won it back by knockout. You've put a lot of blood and sweat and tears into that cage. So you've earned your place. Venom Page hasn't come up the same way. Do you feel like going through those tournaments has really helped you? Like that's going to be a deciding factor for you, that you've won the title and you've owned that cage more than once. You feel like that's going to be a difference maker for you?
Yes and no. Like I said, we've been here for a long time. A lot of high-profile fights already, and this is just another one. Going against an undefeated guy. Karate background. A different style than pretty much everybody I fought before. But it's just another big fight for me. The goal is to get that belt again. But it's another tough fight ahead that I'm looking forward to it. Ready. I haven't fought in 8 months. I'm excited. It's fight week. I'm just ready to make this weight and have some fun Saturday night. I can't wait, man. I feel good. Ready to go. Ready to get this fight over with and get my title back.
And for yourself and for MVP, obviously you're concerned with your own fights now, but do either of you, thinking whoever wins, do you think you'll face Rory McDonald? You think he'll get past Gracie? Or do you expect to fight Gracie?
For me, I would like it to be Rory.
Revenge.
Revenge. It was a close first fight, but man, he's got a really tough fight ahead of him. Neyman's he's young, he's strong. He's good, and Rory, mentally, I don't know if he's there yet. Hopefully comes back 100%. And Rory should win it though. I think he fights really good. His last fight was really good. He looks solid. Of course, can't look past an opponent. But Rory will be the ideal final for sure.
And for Mr. Page, you're undefeated. Gracie's undefeated, so he's got back-to-back potential undefeated opponents. How do you think that plays out? You think you'll see Rory?
Yeah, obviously, on paper, Rory is the more experienced one, the one that's been around for a long time, the more established fighter in terms of his mixed martial arts all-round game. I think he should, come through. Obviously, we've seen maybe mentally he might not be there, but I still think his ability will carry him through. But I think everybody's been picked to be in this tournament for a reason, because they're tough enough to be here. So you can't overlook anybody. So anything can happen, and that's the incredible thing about the mixed martial arts. It's very difficult to predict exactly who's going to go through, because there's so many different ways to win. There's also so many different ways to lose. So the best man will win on the day.
And last question for Mr. Hagar. What's been the most difficult transition between your training for, I know you have a martial arts and wrestling background, but as far as moving from wrestling to legitimate fighting?
I think the whole scope of it, there's so many things that you have to master and be good at, and it's not just going to come overnight. It's going to take years and years. Very honored to be on this card, because every single one of these guys up here have devoted their lives to mixed martial arts and getting better every time. And so for me, I think it's consistency and staying consistent with your training, with your mental focus, and not taking your foot off the gas, because once you do that, you could lose.
Thank you.
Question for Pitbull. You've trained with Henry Cejudo's head coach, Eric Alvarezson. He's right behind you for this fight. Talk about the experience and the fact that both you and Henry Cejudo are going up in weight. Is that a common bond between you both in attempting to win another title?
It was good. He gave to me a lot of advice, and he and his brother helped me a lot in the training. So now he's gonna fight for the second belt too, and it was good to be there with him. The same energy. It was good.
Good luck. And for Pat, you're the former featherweight champion. Originally won not far from Chicago in Hammond, Indiana. So talk about how important is it for you to come out in this fight and remind everyone who you are.
Yeah, I mean, every fight at this stage is, very important, especially being in my hometown of Chicago. I have a little bit extra motivation behind me, knowing that I have my family, my friends out here supporting me, and obviously you don't want to let them down, and you want to make everybody proud. So, yeah, I'm very excited to be back in Chicago, fighting in front of you guys, my hometown, and I just want to put on an exciting show for everybody.
Good luck.
Thank you.
First question for AJ. AJ, you're 24? Am I on point with that?
Yes, sir.
24 years old, youngest guy on stage. So I have to ask, when did you first know about Pat Curran? Do you remember the first fight you ever saw of Pat's and how old you were?
I've been watching Pat for years, man. Honestly, I've been watching a lot of these guys up here for years. So it's just an honor just to be up here and be able to compete with these guys at this level and set the bar. That's what I'm always trying to do. I'm always trying to outdo everyone. So just stay prayed up and continue to do my best and put in the work. Everyone goes through trials and tribulations, but at the end of the day, it's how you come out of things.
You had another young gun in your training camp body shop, Aaron Pico. I recently read an article that Aaron Pico was leaving to go to Jackson Wink. Can you tell me, have you trained with him at all in this training camp of yours?
No, I have not. It is what it is, It's still my boy. We've always been friends since we were a kid, but at the end of the day, it's business. You got things you got to do. I'm going to continue to do what I got to do.
You had a little back and forth with Pitbull on the call, and that was pretty fun. You called him a weenie, and he actually responded with picking Pat Curran to beat you. What do you think about Pitbull's assessment of this fight, and where does all this emotion come between you two?
I told you, he wants Pat to do a job that he can't do, and that's why I said Pat's the true champ taking a real fight. So I thank Pat for that opportunity.
Is Pat Curran the toughest guy you've ever fought?
Hands down.
And then my next question was for Pat Curran. Pat, fighting a young up-and-comer. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you were 24 when you won your first Bellator title. How does it feel like now that you're 31, now that you're, as you told me earlier, you feel like you're in a new prime, but how does your body feel at 31? How does it feel getting back down to 145 pounds, after a little break after you beat Teixeira?
Feels great, man. The lighter I become, the faster I start to move, and everything's just kind of just rolling along right as I need it to be. And I feel, like I said, I feel like I'm in my prime right now. I feel like I'm coming into a new stage in my life where I can really showcase different areas that I haven't showcased on the big stage yet. So I believe you're going to see a new fighter Saturday night, and I think AJ is the perfect opponent for this.
What do you make of the 145 title picture here? Obviously, this back and forth between AJ and Pitbull. You've competed against Pitbull. Really rare for a champ to actually make a pick within his own division and pick you. Are you guys homies? Is there something I'm not seeing here?
No, we're all professional up here, and I know Pitbull's focused on his fight, and me and AJ have to focus on ours. So I'm sure Pitbull's going to want to address that situation after this fight.
And Pitbull, last questions for you, my friend. You've competed against Pat Curran. You guys have had wars back and forth, very, very competitive fights. Can you speak on what your experience has been like against Pat Curran as a martial artist and how you see this actual matchup between McKee and Curran?
Curran was one of the best guys that I fought, and I believe he gonna kill this motherfucker. You fought nobody, man. You fought nobody. Now you're gonna fight a really good guy. You will see.
You just don't want to fight me.
Thank you.
My question is for AJ. AJ, if you are able to get past Pat Curran, a former champion as well, you had a fight scheduled with Emmanuel Sanchez. Of course, you guys had a little back and forth on Twitter and had that beef. Would you like to fight Emmanuel Sanchez?
I want my belt. I sign contracts and I show up to fight. If you pull out, that's not on me. That's on you. I fought with broken hands before. I signed that contract. I show up to fight. That's my job. So regardless what it is, hey, show up. Okay, bring it over here. First match of the tournament. I'll take you whenever, bro.
Come here.
It don't matter.
Come here now.
Bring me my belt.
What do you want?
Yeah. Anywhere.
Let's keep this thing going. Guys, listen, that's the reason why we're having our 16-man featherweight tournament later this year. So that's another time and another place.
And my next question is for champ Michael Chandler. Of course, losing fights is a key. I mean, you're a 3-time world champion. What motivates you more, coming off a loss or coming off a win? Just from a fighter's perspective, I've always wanted to know that.
You know, I think for me, there's losses even when you win, and there's wins even when you lose. You know, as fighters, you see us in the cage for 25 minutes, 15 minutes, but for us, this is our life. For us, this is months and months of training for that performance that you guys see in front of millions and millions of eyeballs, and that's where the pressure comes. You know, I've always just been motivated by what can I do? How can I be a better man, a better fighter, a better competitor, a better athlete? And where are the deficiencies in my game? Where am I very strong, but can I become stronger? So for me, it's kind of 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. I've seen a lot of areas. Obviously, when you lose a fight, you're dealing with the emotional roller coaster of the loss, the embarrassment, the pain, both physical and mental. But even after a lot of wins, I've had numerous wins. Even my last win, I was not happy with. I've been happier in losses than I was in my last win, to be honest with you. So it's just a constant pursuit of becoming your best self. And I think everyone up here is up here for that reason, that we're trying to become the best men, the best fighters we possibly can be. Whether we win, whether we lose, there's always a lesson in the formula that is the sport of mixed martial arts, being locked into a cage and being locked into the arena for everyone's criticism and everyone's backlash and everyone's praise or everyone's bad things that they might say about you.
And my last question is for Scott. You're talking about the Bellator featherweight tournament coming up in the later fall. When will we know who the 16 fighters will be in that tournament?
We will send out all the invitations by June 14th at Madison Square Garden Show.
Sounds good.
Another question for Chandler and Pitbull. Pitbull, you're in another hotel away from the fighter hotel. How difficult is it now, sitting 3 or 4 feet away from Michael, not to get your heart rate going and your adrenaline going? Is it going right now?
I'm feeling comfortable.
That's good to
I
hear.
was preparing for that.
In that case then, is it for both of you, fight sports is a business, you are professional athletes, is this deeper than business? Does this have more meaning than just business? How deeply personal is this for both of you, if I can ask you first, Pitbull?
It's personal. I'm not fight for, like I said, for the belt, Everyone is talking about champ of 2 divisions. I don't care about that. I'm not thinking in that. I'm only thinking about beating him. It's personal.
Chandler?
It's not personal for me. I could care less, to be honest. It's I've not lost 1 week of sleep thinking about Patricio Pitbull. Secondly, this is just a job. For me, this is a competition. For me, this is about me going out there and doing what I do, and I've done it a lot of times, and I've done it very well, and I've done it to entertain the fans and to provide for my family. Saturday night will just be another notch in my win column, and we'll move on and we'll see what's next.
But you're not bothered by, the comments like Chandler alone, the things that have been thrown at you?
I don't even know what that means, so I could care less what that means. So, I mean, it is what, you heard what he said whenever he popped off to AJ. He only knows a couple words to be able to say in English, and he throws them out there. So it's fight hype. It's his motivations are different than my motivations, and that's fine. I respect that. I respect where he has come from and where he is today. I just prefer Patricky's approach. He's a lot more quiet. He's a lot more respectful. He's the older the older, bigger, more wise, more respectful brother. And so Saturday night, I'm going to put little brother in his place.
How do you respond to that, Pitbull, that you're going to be put in your place?
And thank you for being a respectful man, Patricio.
Don't worry, after the fight, I will be nice with you.
What?
After I beat you, I will be nice with you.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Got it.
So do you want to speak in Portuguese with me?
See.
Fala alguma coisa? You know nothing.
No, I don't. America, baby.
Yeah, and I'm a Brazilian who try to speak in English to understand what I am to.
I was simply pointing out the fact that you just throw out obscene gestures at all times. So that's all that matters. So nobody could care less what you actually say. Saturday night, let's do it.
And the final one for Scott Coker, president of Bellator. There was an amazing card, or main card in Birmingham last weekend with some great finishes, all first-round finishes. Really stoked people over there. I was there myself. And you're now getting to the point where you can put together, it's another amazing main card. What is it like to get to this stage now where you have this war chest and you're still building?
It feels good. When I came here in 2014, the roster was a lot different, and we kept building and building and just chipping away. And I think that we might have had 110 athletes under contract. Now we have about 250 athletes under contract and some in development contracts. And even before Birmingham was San Jose, which was an amazing fight card. We had some great fights. And before that, there was another great fight card, and New York's going to be a great fight card, and then London after that's going to be a great fight card. So it feels good to put these amazing fights, stack cards together week after week, month after month. And that was really the dream when I came on board, was like, look, we got to get this roster in place, and we have to build talent, not just sign talent, and keep the existing roster, which was amazing, but we needed more. And I think that we've done a good job of doing that. So it's going to be a lot of fun on Saturday night. This main event is going to be something to watch. I think the tournament finals, the tournament semifinals are going to be fantastic. It's going to there's so many great fights on this card. Pat coming back, fighting AJ. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just sit back and watch and be a fan that night.
Question for Mr. Jones over here. I'm curious what you thought of Jake Hager's first fight in Bellator.
I thought his opponent was silly. His opponent put himself against the cage, allowed Jake to do exactly what he wanted to do. And, you just have to come in with a different game plan when it's a fighter with wrestling with his caliber. So,
And is MMA a full-time job for you?
I work at a plant.
What kind of plant?
A beef plant.
And for Jake over here, what do you make of your opponent? Have you watched any tape on him? Do you know anything about him?
Yeah, of course. Right now, where I'm at in my MMA career, it's easy for me to focus more on my skill set and me improving, and then 5% on the opponent, and then structuring your game plan around that. What I like to do is go out there and wrestle. That's no secret, and I think we're going to see that Saturday night, whether you put your back on the cage or not.
And how is this fight week compared to your debut fight week?
I'm sorry?
How is this fight week compared to your first full fight week at Bellator?
One of the best pieces of advice as I got as a rookie up here is to enjoy this, because look at this. This is cool. We're at Mike Dicka's downtown Chicago, got the press on us. This is really cool. So I really try to enjoy the fight week. I definitely enjoyed the first one. It's a lot of fun, and it feels very natural to be up here, and as a natural transition. This week feels like it's going by a lot faster than the last one, and I'm sure the next one will go by even faster. So becoming very comfortable.
TJ, this is your first time sort of on this big stage of sorts in MMA. What is it like being up here with some of the best fighters in the world?
It's probably one of the most humbling experiences of my life. You got nothing but world-class champions up here, and then you got Jake. So it's very cool to be up here with these guys.
I think most would say you have a lot more to gain in this fight than lose. Do you sort of agree with that sentiment, and how do you approach that?
You know, yeah, I'd agree with that. You know, if I win, all of a sudden people know my name. If I lose, then you know I just go back to working at the beef plant. So.
What is it like balancing working at the beef plant with fighting?
I'm up every morning at 4 a.m. I go to bed every night around 11, 12 o'clock. You know, you got to train, you got to do it. I got 6 kids at home, and you know they come first before everything. And being able to give them this opportunity to make a little extra money so we can have a fun summer is something very motivating for me.
And then question for Scott. Scott, you of course have a great working relationship with Ryzen. Of course, Kyoji Horiguchi, their champ, is coming over to New York next month to fight your bantamweight champion Darren Caldwell. Do you plan on sending over more Bellator champs to Japan for fights there, and will more Ryzen fighters come over stateside to fight for Bellator?
That's a timing issue, honestly. It's something that if we can, from time to time, send some fighters over there, like, you know, King Mo, or, you know, I think DC had a good time over there. I think that there's a lot of fighters that would love to fight in Japan, and if the timing is right, then we can make it happen. But you know, the relationship is good. It's solid. We're due to meet, I think, in the next 2 weeks with Sakibara, and you know, we're going to plan out something fun for the future between the two leagues. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, one more in the back.
TJ, this begs the question, since you work at a meat plant. I'm sure you've seen the movie Rocky.
Oh, absolutely. Every day, I can tell you.
Do you
Oh, yeah.
pound a side of beef to get ready?
I work on the saw, and the beef comes right near me. So I tell my partner, hey, cut all the pieces. So I start hitting it. And yeah, every day, as much as I can.
So you're going to try to buzzsaw Jake?
I'm going to try.
All right, at this time, we're actually not going to reset the tables, but we are going to have the fighters exit on both sides. Scott will put you right in front of the podium, and we'll do fighter square-offs, starting with Jake and TJ. Everybody that's in front, make sure you stay low for the cameras in the back.
Everybody good?
All right, guys, we are going to have a limited one-on-one availability, so if you've got questions, come to the front. We are serving a media lunch after the one-on-ones conclude, so for members of the media, we'll have food outside the doors here.